guys, this is Chrystallynn, and thank you for joining me for this week's weekly winner of my 15-minute astrological profile. And so this week, I am going to attempt to talk about relationships a little bit. This week's winner asked me some specific questions about relationships, and she gave me a few charts to look at, and I couldn't help myself. And so I put all three charts out in front of me, and I just really took a look at what was going on in her life. And first of all, I want to say that, if any astrologer, anybody you talk to says you should do this or you shouldn't do that, or you should leave this situation, or you should definitely go in this situation, you want to be careful, because we attract different relationships at different times in our lives, you guys. We're in different places and we see things differently. And relationships serve a very, very important purpose, and including the pain of relationships. Without the pain of relationships, we wouldn't value ourselves. We wouldn't stand up for ourselves. We wouldn't know what it is we really want in life. And, what compromises we need to make. Every relationship, I don't care if it's the perfect relationship, the astrological planets are lined up in a way that's just brilliant, requires work, commitment, responsibility on our part emotionally, spiritually, physically. We all go through different ups and downs. We're all in different cycles. And so when you're looking at relationships, you need to take all of this into account. You need to take really a look at, one, is this person born in a different generation than I am? If you're in a relationship with somebody that's, say, 7 years older than you, they're going to be going through their Saturns at a different time than you. Do you understand that process? What about the South Node and the North Node? You might get married to someone that has this theme in their life. I'll use an example. If their South Node is in Pisces, and you think, oh, I've really married this laid-back person, and they're so creative and spiritual. And then, maybe they're even a little older than you, and they turn about 35 and start transitioning into their North Node, and it's in Virgo. And now that laid-back person is becoming critical, an obsessive cleaner, all of those things. And so we need to take a look at those things to prepare ourselves. Now, hopefully, the transitions that we're making will be complementing in those things that are happening. But there are important things to at least be able to look at and understand for that person you're in the relationship with. What might they be going through? And can you be understanding? So, all that being said, let's get to the good stuff. Okay, so my weekly winner was born on May 26, 1980. She is a Gemini. But she's also a Mercury in Gemini. But she's a Capricorn rising and a Scorpio moon. And every time I see this combination, I just take a look at it and I go, you know what? Wow. I mean, here she's got this intelligent mind that goes 100 miles an hour. And yet, it's like that Capricorn wants to make you so darn responsible and constantly telling you what's right and wrong. And then the moon in Scorpio taking you deep, deep down into emotions that you really, really don't want to have. Because Gemini likes to be like the butterfly and stay above the surface. They just want to think about things. And so you can see this conflict that must go on. And a lot of times when you see the moon in Scorpio, or really any placement, you guys, in your personal planets, I mean, Scorpio just always takes dominance. It just really does. And so we have, this situation where inside you feel one way, like this butterfly wanting to come out of the cocoon, and then this other part of you wanting to keep you hidden. And so that can be difficult. And then we take a look at the fact that you have Venus in Cancer. I mean, so you're super, super intuitive. You're a very, very deep person. I mean, the way that you love and the way you want to love your family and love your children and love your husband and love in relationships is so deep and nurturing. And then you're really practical. Mars in Virgo. You're very, very practical. You're a good little entrepreneur. You love to be down to earth. Plus, with that ascendant in Capricorn, you're stable. And in your email to me, you mentioned that, a lot of people think you just live the perfect life. And when I heard the word perfect, I recognized that coming from somebody with the Mars in Virgo. And myself, being a Sun in Virgo, there is that constant perfectionism that we want to appear that we've got it all together. And yet, the water is very, very deep. And the waters that you experience are very deep. You're able to feel the energies around you. And so there's a part of you that probably is really attracted to the fun-loving guy, light and easy, because inside you're really deep. But let's find out what happened in your first relationship that you asked me about. So you did mention to me, and you said that I can share whatever information would be helpful. You, let me see, hold on. Where did he go? Okay, here he is. You did mention to me that you had a relationship, a long relationship with a man. I believe you have children with him, and he is a Libra. He was born October 6, 1975. So being a Gemini, Geminis love Libras. They talk, they're intellectual, they like to keep conversation. But you were more attracted to what I see here as almost a mirror reflection of who you are. Because he also has a Capricorn rising and a moon in Scorpio. So, wow, this was a very intense relationship. He, on the outside, interestingly enough, his Mercury's in Libra, so he's trying to balance things out. And probably when you first met him, you thought, oh my gosh, this guy's a great partner. He's, fair. He's thinking of everyone. He's pretty easygoing. But then you did see that dark, mysterious side. It's very attractive, and it might have even felt very, very familiar. And so you could see these moon signs, which is so powerful. And, when you talk about compatibility, people ask all the time, what does a Scorpio go with? And they ask about, how can Scorpios be with Scorpios? And I think in many cases, you see that being very, very, very successful. But I think you really have to look at the depth of that, because where's the balance? This relationship, he wanted balance, but where things went really haywire for him was Mars and Gemini. I also want to make a comment before I go on that. He had Venus in Virgo. So he saw your Mars in Virgo. He was very attracted to your Mars in Virgo, and he was very attracted to your sun and how you communicated as a Gemini. Mars in Gemini. So here we go again. It almost just feels like a tortured feeling to me, because Moon and Scorpio people, yes, they can go down to the depth and can be dark and have all kinds of intensity, but they're pretty darn loyal. I mean, if you are committed, you've got that deep loyalty from the Moon in Scorpio. And yet, Mars in Gemini has a really hard time with that, because they're just super up here in their head. They want new experiences. They almost turn into like a 15-year-old. They don't like that deep commitment. And so both of you guys really struggled with this. You were attracted to a part of you that was fun and light, but, something happened here. Things got really deep, and you did share with me that there was infidelity in this relationship, and it was very devastating to you. And, when we talk about infidelity, when we talk about those things, one thing you guys have to remember is really before anybody betrays somebody else, they betray themselves first. And if you really look back in those relationships, there was usually a cry. There was usually something that happened where that person shut down, or you shut down and cut that relationship. It was that moment in time where you just, you're done. You're not opening up anymore. And it happens. And yet, with the responsible planets that both of you guys shared with this rising in Capricorn, Moon in Scorpio. Even Virgos, they're very loyal. They're very consistent. So you guys have all these strong planets that had you really hang in there. And it was probably a long, long hang in there. And so you've mentioned to me right now that you guys are separated for a period of time. And, you know, again, asking me, oh, okay, what do I do? And you have another relationship that you wanted me to share about. Is a friend, a longtime friend. And, you know, at this point, from what I gather, you don't see yourself going back to this relationship. But you told me that this other relationship is just something you've never experienced before. Very, very, very powerful relationship, very spiritual relationship, and very emotional relationship. Now, you guys have known each other for 15 years, but you haven't seen each other. So I get it's a long distance emotional relationship. And so let's talk about this relationship. This relationship, when I take a look at this, and again, I'm just trying to make objective point of views and allow you guys to think about these things. Because ultimately, only you know your heart. But this relationship, I get a little sparkle in my eye over because he was born March 6th. Let's see here, hold on. 1979. And he is a sun in Pisces. He is a Mars in Pisces. Moon in Gemini. Okay, so there's our Gemini connection. Mercury, Aries. So he's quick to the point, says it like it is, doesn't play games. That might be refreshing. He's a Venus Aquarius, and he's a rising sign Aquarius. And so just off, again, just talking about personal planets here. See how much time I have before I go deeper into things. But, you know, Scorpio and Pisces is a very powerful combination. Along with Cancer, anytime you have water signs, because the water signs live on a level of life that's so deep. Pisces have the ability to be a little bit more lighter and go with the flow, but they can go to any level of depth of the ocean as needed. Now, Scorpios tend to be more fixed, so their water is more like a deep, 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 deep well down in there, and it's stiller. They don't move their water around too much. They don't like it ruffled. And so, but yet this water can be very powerful. Pisces by nature don't have a problem with somebody kind of controlling them because they need a little control because they're just kind of all over the place, but they're very intuitive, and I can see how you're very, very connected to this energy right now. With the moon, with his moon in Gemini, he completely gets you intellectually. He completely gets you, and he's probably a lot of fun. Venus in Aquarius kind of has a little bit of a detached side. Now, Scorpio and Aquarius are squared. But again, squares can bring passion. Squares can bring change. And with Gemini in both of your charts, you guys like a little change. You like a little change it up. The other thing I like about this chart is that his Jupiter is in Cancer. And your Venus is in Cancer. So a lot of times with men, wherever their Jupiter is placed, a lot of times they're attracted to a woman with Cancer influence. It would mean he'd be attracted to a very nurturing woman. He would appreciate that in you. His Saturn is in Virgo. So he's already been through his first Saturn. And like I said, he's got Jupiter in Cancer. Now, it is retrograde. Now, a lot of times when you see Jupiter in Cancer, you will see a good cook. You will see someone that's a good manager. They do some type of healing work, and it might be behind the scenes. He has a lot of retrograde planets, so it looks like whatever he does is going to be behind the scenes. But his Saturn is in Virgo, and so is yours. Now, his Saturn is retrograde, again, behind the scene worker, but you've both been through your first Saturn. You know, looking at his fifth house, if we look at his fifth house, it's in Cancer. Again, he wants that family nurturing relationship. And with you having Venus in Cancer, that makes a really, really good connection. Let's take a look at what else. He has Scorpio in the 9th house, so he loves to be educated in a deep philosophical, psychological way, which you have the ability to communicate on that level. Let's see. He's got 11th and 12th house Capricorn. So he understands what it takes for long, strong discipline in his life. So it looks like you guys do have some things in common. So, you're asking me my opinion. Well, where are you at in your life? If I take a look at where you're at in your life right now, you're born in 1980. You're about 33 years old. You're going to be moving from an awkward stage in your life where you just feel like you just haven't been able to make those connections to a star position. With your North Node in Leo, you've got some things going on here. You've got something special that you can offer. You're a very strong woman. And I think, when we're talking about relationships, you guys, ultimately, there's moments in your life where, we all just want someone to save us, and maybe we're vulnerable, maybe we're not a whole person. But ultimately, we're going to come back. We're going to be healed. We're going to be complete. And the relationship that you're looking at, is it going to be able to handle you as a whole person? Or is that relationship based on only you being a broken person? Sometimes when people get better and they start stepping into the position in life they're supposed to, it can threaten the relationships because those people know you as you were and they want to keep you there. And you want to go to the next level. With the moon in Scorpio and Venus in Cancer right now, you're being called into this grand water trine. You've got strong intuitive ability, creative ability, great communication skills, even if you use them sparingly. It's not about over talking, it's about what you say that's important in life. I don't see any Pisces in your chart. And we know that this relationship that you asked me about, that you just feel like could be the one, has a lot of Pisces. Something you do need. Again, these are things to look at, but are you able to accept that wild, creative, flowing energy? Or do you need to control it? When you're looking at somebody else's chart, you need to accept it fully for what it is and what it gives you. Part of being in an amazing relationship, in my experience, you guys, is supporting the person you love with what they love. What they love may be completely different than what you love. But the relationship grows in the support of. Because that person, when they know you love what they love, even when you really don't love what they love, that's where they want to take their shoes off at night. That's where they want to come home to because they're safe. They're safe to be who they are with you. If you're in a relationship and you're, criticizing and focusing on every single detail of their inadequacies, then you're going to manifest that into your relationship. You mentioned that you do have a little bit of obsessive side when you get focused, and I do too with all my Virgo and even Pisces. So much Pisces, we can get obsessive as well. But you do have a Gemini, you have a lot of Mercury, Mars in Virgo, Jupiter in Virgo, Saturn in Virgo. Sun and Mercury in Gemini. Mercury. Moon in Scorpio captures the obsession, takes it down to the depth. And the Venus in Cancer, you just really want to love and be taken care of and take care of others. You are a very powerful young woman. And I'm excited for you. I see good things coming. And if you can just embrace your past and realize that it's a part of who you are and who you'll always be, but shed the old skin. Part of the life of a Scorpio is about regeneration, becoming that eagle, I think one of the things you mentioned is just that kind of lonely feeling you had in the other relationship. These are things you told me, so I'm not bringing them out. I'm just sharing with your heart to me. I think that, looking at your future, you need to be around people that share the intuitive and deep part of you. So, with all of that being said, I hope this was helpful. And, you guys, be patient. Don't try to make something happen that's not ready to happen. Trust the rhythms. And if you can find somebody in your life that sings the same song as you do in your heart, then that's a blessing. Just remember that we have to appreciate their differences. And being complete ourselves will help us to do that. So, with all that being said, good luck. And I look forward to hearing how it all turns out. So, bye, you guys. Check out my website. And if you want any of my additional services, chrystallynn.biz.